Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Patriot. We the people demand that the First Amendment rights of freedom of religion, freedom of free speech, freedom of the press, and the rights of the people to peacefully assemble be left in place. We the people demand the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. We the people demand that the Third Amendment, the right of the people to secure in persons their houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated any longer, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause. We the people will not tolerate any further collusion of political Washington's deep state swamp and demand our freedoms of rights to self-governance. We want our rights, freedoms, and pursuit of happiness back instead of the present pursuit of poverty and misery. No FBI or IRS agent shall have the right to harass people anywhere without a bona fide warrant. Elected leaders who violate the Constitution should be held accountable, and law enforcement should disobey any unconstitutional orders. No government agency shall spy or wiretap any U.S. citizens, nor shall they instruct private companies to do so. We'll demand that our cities must cease to be sanctuary cities and cease to be criminal-ridden cities, and must be governed by law-abiding mayors and district attorneys, prosecute criminals, and deport illegal immigrants. We the people demand that our borders will be secured immediately and to stop the invasion of immigrants and relieve the people from the additional tax burden of paying housing, food, medication, transportation, education, and health care of illegal immigrants. The deployment of other border security assets, including manpower, is also paid by taxpayers and should be spent more wisely than border security. We demand that our borders be secured to avoid smuggling of drugs and fentanyl, which has already cost thousands of American lives. We demand that every immigrant crossing the borders be checked for criminal, terrorist, and health records. An inhumane situation at the border has cost many lives and even suicide of our border agents. We the people demand to live without fear of war, nuclear attack, and fear of terrorism and fear of crime. We the people must have respect for life, and the body parts of unharvesting babies should be punished to the maximum extent of law. We the people demand a president and an administration who did not censor scientists during a pandemic like COVID, and does not make mandates requiring masks, vaccines, and lockdowns to oppress the people. Many lives were lost because of the secrecy and censoring of expert voices who could have saved lives that were not heard. We the people demand a president who does not declare war on fossil fuels, which causes a spike in oil prices and gives Putin, our political enemy, the opportunity to finance his military war and start a war with Ukraine. Regarding thousands of deaths and refugees in a country ruined, oil and gas and drilling prices and fracking should resume immediately in order to lower our crude oil prices. This will disable Putin from funding his military and stopping a useless Ukrainian war and thousands of needless deaths and destruction. The taxpayers' money spent for the Ukrainian war can be spent elsewhere in the United States for better purposes. We the people want a Congress that makes laws for the good of the people without self-interest and benefits, without pork projects, and refrains from insider trading. No elected member of Congress should enrich himself with any of these in his term. The future of our country is at stake, and even the 22 election with regard to the House of Representatives by the Republican Party will not stop the destruction. The numerous planned investigations, subpoenas, and other attempts to stop inflation, invasion, crime, and other destructive acts will be blocked and refused or delayed at best. In fact, any future election will be useless unless the Democrats and liberals have their unstoppable fraudulent voting patterns assisted by the mainstream media and social media and large global companies like Hollywood elite and the FBI intelligence agencies, George Soros and his global warming billionaires in their favor. Their megaphone is too big for our Republicans, according to recent history. And with the split party, the Republicans stand no chance for a foreseeable future. Our last resort is to keep our rights of freedom and the foundation of individuals and the Constitution of red states. While the U.S. Constitution is silent regarding secession, the 10th Amendment says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Article 4 of the Constitution, Section 4, states the United States shall guarantee every state in the Union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion on application of the legislature against domestic violence. The Declaration of Independence is more direct and states that whenever any form of government becomes destructive or unattainable rights of those of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the rights of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new government. The Declaration of Independence concludes, but when a long train of abuse and separation pursues invariably the same objective, invasive, and designed to reduce other absolute disposition, is the right of the duty to overthrow such government and provide new guards for future security. The present and continuing destruction of the U.S. falls within such abuses and separations. We now can conclude that a region within the United States and the states in this region have the right and duty to form a coalition of regional constitutional states, strictly adhering to the Constitution. We intend to forward this manifesto to the governors and lieutenant governors in the following states: Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Ohio. And we invite the people in their states to participate in signing the petition to form such a coalition of constitutional states. All other states not mentioned above are invited to join this coalition of constitutional states or form such coalition of other states.